This is a Region Sports Desk exclusive.
I want to get away. I want to fly away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to get away. I want to fly away.
Well, good evening and welcome to MAB Weekly here on MidAmericaBroadcasting.com. I don't remember being this anticipating a football season locally in Northwest Indiana in quite some time. I mean, at the different levels, the dearth of teams that are very competitive to have the potential of really going a long way come November here. It's really interesting. You got teams named 5A, 4A, 3A, and 2A, and even, let's not count out a couple of 1A teams maybe can make a little ruckus in the postseason tournament. But at each level, it is going to be an interesting and fascinating year.
Well, as strong as we are in football this year, basketball is going to be amazing on the boys. This is a very strong year for returning quarterbacks in the Dublin Athletic Conference. Each and every team has a really solid quarterback coming back at that spot with experience from the previous year. You can start with Rodney Washington from Michigan City High School as a good example with that, but he's not alone. Each school has a pretty darn good quarterback coming into next year.
Well, yeah, I got to agree with you. I mean, if you look at Maryville, I think as a returning starter, as a pure passer, Zachary Popovich is probably going to be your best bet. And I think as a dual threat quarterback, I would look at Zach Houston from Portage as a guy that's going to be up there. He's going to rack up a lot of yards, running the football and passing. So, I mean, it's going to be a good balance there. And I'm really interested to see how Rodney Washington adjusts to this new system, this new flexbone scheme they're going to install at Michigan City. Because, he was a heck of a spread drop-back quarterback. I think this is going to be a major adjustment for him, so it's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts to that.
Another quarterback curious to see is quarterback from Lake Central. It seems like St. Germain's always produced a pretty good quarterback in his system, and Lake Central's team's loaded with a lot of kids, a lot of talent, usually year in, year out. See what he can do with that talent there.
Yeah, Steve Krause is a real good one there at Lake Central, returning again.
How about the Sturback kid from Munster?
Right, and another quarterback I want to mention that really impressed me last year, not only can he throw the ball, but he can run, is John Watson from Chesterton High School. He's a real impressive athlete as well, and look for Joe Hopman to be much improved at Crown Point this year. I think their offense is going to be a lot stronger going into this year.
Yeah, I've coached against Crown Point, a lot of their freshman kids, and I coached a couple years ago. They had a really strong defense, and they had a good running game. Quarterback play wasn't that bad, but they had a lot of talented kids there. Curious to see what Crown Point can do.
Yeah, another kid who got a lot of playing time last year due to some off-the-field problems over at Valparaiso High School is Paul Andre. He's a real good quarterback as well. They got a good athlete in Jarek Suter there at Valparaiso. Valparaiso, for whatever reason, doesn't get a lot of the publicity that the other schools do. They kind of get not overlooked, but they kind of assume to be good every year. And this year they'll be good again.
Yeah, exactly. The thing I think Valpo messed up on last year was they had Paul Andre. He could have been there. I think they could have used him a lot more than what they did. It seems like they used a lot of single wing, whatever, wildcat, however you want to call it, with Perkins a lot. And I thought they could have used Paul a little bit better and get him prepared for his junior season.
Well, we don't just focus on the bigger schools, talking about some of the smaller schools as well. Sam O'Shea is a top 30 player in the state of Indiana. In my book, he's going to make a small college a very happy team in the future. He's a great quarterback at Wheeler High School. Matt Aponte is a real good athlete for the Whiting Oilers. He's back again this year. Dalton Tunis is a young quarterback with the North Judson St. Pierre Blue Jays. He's very good as well. So there's a lot of quarterbacks at the smaller classifications that are doing a lot of good things as well.
Well, I mean, quarterback play is such a vital part to helping your team advance deep into the tournament. I think when you look at most of the teams that make it far in state, I mean, maybe with an exception of the quarterback play is vital. And quarterback play can be the difference between getting the state and losing in sectionals.
Well, one quarterback we didn't mention is the quarterback at Morton High School, Andrew Glidewell, along with Kalen Aaron. That's going to be a 1-2 combination. Is this the year, guys, that the Morton Governors get downstate? I think it might be.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they took a major step last year. I think getting over the Griffith hurdle was a huge accomplishment for them. And so they come into this season as the favorite in Sectional 9. And I think it's going to be a real battle. I don't think it's going to be easy for them to get past Griffith, but absolutely, they have a real chance to get back to regionals. Now can they get past that next hurdle and get to semi-state and see what they can do?
Looking ahead, obviously, everybody's talking Portage, talking Maryville, Lowell, Borden. As we hear, today's the first day of contact practice throughout the state of Indiana, Northwest Indiana-wise, who do you think might be a dark horse team, a team that not a lot of people are talking about, but might surprise some people this year?
Like I said at the beginning of the year, I think a dark horse team. It sounds crazy, but I mean Portage, they didn't finish up too strong last year. Like the season-wise, didn't finish up strong. When sectionals came around, defense, they played lights-out defense. They shut out East Chicago, shut out Chesterton, and held Maryville to only 9 points in the sectional championship. That was their second lowest total of the season. And they got so much weapons coming back, and not to mention they got a transfer kid in Rashawn Coleman. He's coming up here from McCutcheon. We watched him play in a scrimmage, and that kid he might be the best player on the team, and he's only a sophomore.
I think at the 4A level, I think some people are counting out Griffith, and I think that since Morton has kind of eclipsed them last season, people are kind of believing that Morton is now reached the top of the summit. They are the team to beat. But I don't think you can just count out Griffith yet. They do have a lot of returning starters, and obviously with Bonowitz and Ed Johnson coming back.
Those are nice two starting blocks.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think you can count them out quite yet. They're going to be very competitive, and they're definitely going to be a player in Sectional 9.
I think there's two teams in the Hobart Township area that can be sleepers as well. Everyone's just kind of overlooking the Hobart Brickies with Sam Kosich at quarterback, Ian Droback at the running back spot. I look for Hobart to be competitive in that conference. I think they're going to be competitive with Kankakee Valley and Highland, and I think they're going to be competitive throughout the season. So don't overlook the Hobart Brickies. And then River Forest made some steps last year, upsetting Bishop Knoll in a big upset in the Greater South Shore Conference. They've got over 35 kids coming back off of last year's roster, led by several track teams that won the Greater South Shore Conference last year, including Joey Pushka and Richie Pennington. So look for the Ingots to get to the middle of the road, maybe possibly in the Greater South Shore Conference as well. And I think Wheeler's going to have a little tougher time than they've had in previous years in the Greater South Shore. They've kind of run through that conference the last several years. But look for Wheeler to have some little stronger competition from the River Forest, the Bishop Knolls, and the Cayumettes this year. That's going to be kind of a surprise, I think, going into this year. Another thing about Wheeler, they may have a strong regular season, but in the postseason, Rensselaer and North Judson are awful tough.
And let's not forget Seeger in that section,
right,
too, which I know not Northwest Indiana, but they had Rensselaer on the ropes last year, a team that was in the 2A semi-state.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back down to the 2A level, obviously people are talking about Wheeler's regular season schedule. They have a very difficult sectional to win. I mean, obviously we mentioned North Judson and Rensselaer. Rensselaer's going to be the odds-on favorite, maybe even to get to state in 2A.
Seeger's very good, too.
So, I mean, that's going to be a very difficult mountain to climb for Wheeler, and I don't know what they could possibly do in the regular season that's going to help them get ready for that. But I think going back to your Hobart statement, I think Hobart's going to be better because they were a very young team last year, so obviously they're going to be improved. But if you look at the teams above them, Griffith, Lowell, Munster, Morton, they got to play out of conference. I mean, they've got a very, very difficult schedule. Hobart's going to have a better team, but they've got a pretty tough task if they're looking at even getting a winning record this season.
Well, you take a look at some of these teams, and they get into the postseason area, like the Andrea 59ers. Their regular season record may not be the best, but when they get into the 3A competition, they're playing the likes of the Lowell Red Devils and the Munster Mustangs, the Hobart Brickies, and so forth. That's going to prepare, Andrean for that 3A again. And DeBlanco going back to the quarterback spot. They got the McKenna kid back again. But don't count the 59ers out this year in 3A.
It's a very winnable sectional for them, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think they play on a very easy schedule, or like a very easy sectional there for them. Plus, like I said, the level of competition they play.
Talk about the impact you think some of the new coaches in the area are going to have this year on their respective programs.
I know Keith Kilmore, that's probably going to be the biggest situation I'm curious to see. I mean, what's the bigger loss, Brandon Gruby or Kirk Kennedy to the Lowell Red Devils? I think when time comes out, I think Kennedy's probably the biggest piece of the puzzle to miss there. I mean, he got the kids motivated, and he turned that program around year in, year out, state contenders.
The 20 years prior to Kennedy taking it over, the best records Lowell had in that 20 years were 2 5-5 records.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. And they had to win 161 games in 19 years.
And don't forget, when Hobart had Don Hall, they had Tom Kerr. Lowell's losing Brad Stewart, too.
Who's going down the road to Kankakee Valley, which adds a little more spice to that rivalry game.